Hello there, welcome to Bryan Lomax Movie Talk. Finally, it is here. We've only waited, what, 6 years since the last Bond film? My goodness. They've had plenty of time to, go away, polish it up, make sure they've got it just right. So there really shouldn't be any excuse. There really shouldn't. But yeah, this is Daniel Craig's last. He's gone on record as saying he's done, that's it, absolutely, 100%, unequivocally, done. Does he go out with a whimper or with a bang? Well, I can honestly say it's a bang. This film was awesome. When you look at the last movie in any Bond, with the exception of Dalton, and obviously Lazenby, because he only did one. His first was his last. But if you look at Connery, if you look at Moore, if you look at Brosnan, their last films were arguably their worst. They would tail off quite dramatically before they give up the ghost. What I feel has happened here is that Daniel Craig has gone out on his own terms. And I feel like it works, man. It really works. So yeah, I'm a Bond fan, right? I'm a Bond fan. I've watched them all multiple times. I've done run-throughs. I even reviewed. Well, I've reviewed every Bond film except this one. Hence, here we are. But I feel like there is a certain section of Bond fandom that can get a little bit like, I don't know, the Halloween fandom or the Star Wars fandom, the whole Disney Marvel stuff, where people take so much ownership of something that only their opinion exists, and if you disagree with that opinion, then you're not a true Bond fan. This isn't Fleming's Bond, it's just balls, because everybody says, like, there's loads of different people who say, oh, Connery is like Fleming's Bond, and then other people say, oh, yeah, Dalton is Fleming's Bond. Other people say, oh, actually Brosnan resembles Fleming's Bond, and then so many others say, but yeah, Craig gets back to the roots of Fleming's. It's nonsense. You like what you like. I like all the Bond movies to varying degrees, but for me personally, Craig is my favourite. And this film goes out on a massive high, it's got to be said, after what is a pretty damn good run as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, directed by Cary Fukunaga, who, if you've seen the first season of True Detective, which is I still hold as one of the best TV shows of all time, this dude can direct. He can handle the camera. He knows what to do with it, and yeah, he brings that here. I've still yet to see Beasts of No Nation. I really need to get on that, but fantastic job. Hans Zimmer, my favourite composer, is here doing the music for a friggin' Bond film. If Christopher Nolan ain't too far behind, I would be. I wouldn't know what to think. Come on, it's like you're getting all the people. We've had one of Nolan's cinematographers on this in Spectre. Now we've got his long time running composer. Come on, just give us Nolan. But yeah, fantastic job from Zimmer. So the story for this picks up fairly shortly after Spectre, where Madeleine and Bond have got married and they've gone off. It seems like they're having a honeymoon, but obviously we know it's not gonna last. Stuff happens, stuff blows up, people get hit, cars smash into things, and it means that the two of them are now kind of at loggerheads with each other very early on in the game. That's not a spoiler, it's there in the trailer. The question is, can Madeleine be trusted? Has Bond made the right move in marrying this woman, or like we've seen with most of his history, is he going to be betrayed by someone that he loves? And yeah, that's the crux of their kind of character journeys. Throw into the mix this new villain played by Rami Malek, this guy called Safrin, who's got a link to Madeleine's past. And yeah, he steals this weapon that basically can attack a very specific genetic makeup. You can program it to, so if you wanted to, you could wipe out an entire race. You can lock on to their key sequences in their genetic makeup and say, yeah, attack those, and only the people with that kind of genetic makeup would get killed. So what he's going to do with this weapon, what his plans are, that remains to be seen throughout the movie. But Bond obviously has to stop it, and whether or not Madeleine is tied up in all that, again, that's part of the journey you need to go on when you watch the film. Now, I think personally I've probably said a bit too much there already, so I'm going to try and leave it at that with regards to plot, because I don't really want to spoil anything. To be honest, I really do think this is one of those films where you need to avoid reviews until after you've seen it. Reviews need to be more of a discussion point once you've seen the film, because I went into this fresh, really fresh. I didn't watch any reviews. I didn't want anything spoiling it. And there's just, yeah, there's a lot of twists. There's a lot of turns. There's a lot of things you don't see coming. There's a lot of things that happen that you might not expect. It's great. It's surprising. It's energizing. It's action-packed. There's some really great character stuff in it. I personally love the journey that Bond goes on in this. I think, you know, a lot of people want Bond to stay. And again, that's a subjective thing. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's not right either, as in it's not the only way. You know, you look at the old Bond films, Bond was a never-changing character, really. He had a few little character traits that were often regarded as flaws as well, and that's it. You just bang him into a situation, he does what he does, you get some entertainment from it, and then we move on to the next adventure. Whereas here, with Craig's Bond certainly, and I think to some extent it started with Brosnan's Bond, we get things carrying over throughout the movie. So we've got a complete arc. Now, across his 5 movies, you have this complete arc, and I think there needs to be more appreciation for that. To me, that's more believable. It just, yeah, we need to wake up to the fact that the world has changed. We don't live in the 1960s anymore. And I think one of the aspects of that will really come into play is this character, this new 007, which has really ruffled a lot of feathers before people have even gone to see the film. So Lashana Lynch plays this new 007, Naomie, I think is how you pronounce it. And obviously, you know, it's a black woman playing 007, and a lot of people are like, no, you can't make a woman kind of, you know, take over 007. We're not going to watch films in which she becomes James Bond. It's stupid. And it's like, just go and watch the film. Just watch the film instead of making all these stupid videos where you're surmising about things. Just go and watch the film. See how it fits in. Now, for me personally, I did find her character to be one of the weakest links in the film, and that's not because of any agenda pushing or out like that. I'm perfectly fine with a woman being a 00 agent. I'm even fine with a woman taking over the 007 kind of moniker for a while, because it is just a number that is assigned by MI5, MI6, whatever, MI5. So yeah, you know, it doesn't make her James Bond. She's not saying she's James Bond. She's just 007 for a time. Now, I personally find her character to be a little bit annoying. I find her to be too confrontational all the time. Like the moment she meets Bond, it's this kind of territorial pissing kind of thing that's going on. And I think a better way to have made us warm to her would have been to actually have her be an agent who does respect the work that Bond has done, does respect his legacy. I think when you take it from that angle, it ingratiates that character more into you. And they don't go that route. They want the conflict there straight away. And yeah, you know, that relationship develops across the course of the movie. But for me, to be honest, I just think I feel like they went too hard with this woman. Like, for example, we have another character, a CIA operative, played by Ana de Armas, who I absolutely love. Made no secret. I think Ana de Armas, stick her in anything as far as I'm concerned. You know, she's the only good thing about Knock Knock. That was a terrible movie, but I noticed right off the bat that this woman could act. You know, since then she's done Blade Runner 2049, one of my favourite movies of all time. You know, Knives Out, really great film. Yeah, so it's really great to see her here. My biggest criticism of the film would probably be that she doesn't get enough time. So she's in a segment of the film, and to be honest, once she's gone, I'm like, oh man, I wish she'd stuck around a bit longer. She's a great character. Like if you were going to do a spin-off movie from any of the characters on this, it wouldn't be Naomie's character, it would be hers. I'd say do a CIA kind of, because she's a younger agent, she's just kind of come into the agency. I'd watch a spin-off with Ana de Armas as that character. She was warm, she was bubbly, she was fun, she was exciting, yeah, just entertaining. And the chemistry, the relationship between her and Bond was really great. And again, it's that respect thing. When they get together, they have this respect for one another. And if they can respect each other, it helps you, the audience, to respect this new character. Whereas, as I say, you go to the Naomie character, because she's so confrontational, so hot-headed, so kind of against Bond right from the start, it doesn't really ingratiate her into your kind of sensibilities, so to speak. Lea Seydoux as Madeleine does a really great job here. I think she elevates her character to what we got from Spectre. Now, I liked her in Spectre. I thought she gave a really good performance. I think there were moments in that film where she did get to shine, but she was mostly a kind of a victim type character that Bond needed to keep out of harm's way. Whereas here, she's much more of an action figure. She's much more of an active participant, shall we say, rather than the damsel in distress. She's got higher stakes within the story. There's certain things that go on that mean something to her, that kind of force her to make choices. And yeah, I think as a result of that, Seydoux is able to do something with the performance, do a bit more with the performance, and I really root for her. And yeah, so great character, Madeleine, I think. Really come on across these two movies. Now, Christoph Waltz is back in the film as Blofeld as well. Obviously, he's been all in the trailers and whatnot. I was expecting a bit more from him, I've got to say. I don't mean from performance-wise. I think he's really good in the little we get of him. But he's there really to kind of jump the plot onto its next kind of focus. So it's a smaller role, which is fine. We've had that with Blofeld in the past, you know, once he was established. Well, even when he was being established back in the original heyday of Bond with Connery, you know, he was kind of peppered into the earlier films, just like with snatches, with glimpses, until he finally got to be full-on bad guy in You Only Live Twice. But suffice to say, he's not the main villain. Even the trailers state that, as I say, Rami Malek's villain, Safin, he is the main bad. So yeah, I think I would have liked a bit more from Blofeld. I think there's stuff in Spectre where I did kind of like Christoph Waltz, but there's also a lot of it where I kind of felt, not from him, but more from the writing side of things towards the end of that film. It just got a bit like hammy. Whereas here, he's more in the kind of Hannibal Lecter vein, you know, someone who's been incarcerated, who Bond needs to go and see in order to get information and whatnot. So because of that, you know, he has a certain sense of power over Bond. So that makes for a good dynamic, and it makes for a good scene. But like I say, his screen time is limited. As for Rami Malek, I like him in the role. I just think perhaps some of his motivations are a bit muddied. Like, he gets this weapon, and it's not entirely clear what his ultimate motivations are. Like, is he just out to make money, or does he have some kind of idealistic agenda where he does want to wipe out certain people? Or it's a bit muddy. Now, there is a link there, as I say, between him and Madeleine Swan. That to me feels like almost a spiritual kind of thing that is going on with the character because of something that happens in the beginning of the movie. And I feel like that could have been explored a bit more, or that could have been kind of put onto his plan a bit more, made a bit more of a focus of that with regards to his plan. But in the end, I kind of get to the end and I just think, well, what was he ultimately after? Was he just trying to make money? But I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe on a few more watches that'll become clearer. But I thought Malek himself was pretty good. I thought he had a lot of charisma. This is a guy who, again, is very driven. He has a very spiritual quality about him, I think. Ultimately, he is still just a psychopath. But I feel like there's stuff there where he thinks he's more enlightened, or what he's doing is taking him on to the path of being more enlightened. But as I say, because of the way it's written, it is a bit muddy. There's a bit of an inconsistency there with the age of Malek as well, but I think that is hidden by the fact that, you know, his face is scarred. So this guy could be a lot older than we know Malek is. I just think that there are certain scenes where you see him sat there and he's kind of, as I say, he's this kind of almost zen-like quality about this guy, and when he's got his hands folded, you can see these really young-looking hands. I think they would have done well to kind of disguise that by aging his hands up a bit, because the face doesn't really bother me, because obviously it's scarred. So this guy could be 50 odd for all we know. You wouldn't know under the scarring, but the hands really give it away. So in a few scenes, I would have appreciated them doing some work on his hands. Linus Sandgren does the cinematography on this iteration of Bond, and I gotta say, it is absolutely beautiful. Now, I love Sandgren's work. You know, he did La La Land and First Man, so he's very much Damien Chazelle's go-to cinematographer. But the work he did on those movies was incredible. The work he does here is absolutely incredible as well. There's a lot of the effects work seems to be in camera. You know, a lot of the action stuff, which I really love about Bond, is that effort to kind of steer away from CGI, using it to touch up scenes rather than going full on. I mean, obviously, you go back to Die Another Day. That was an instance within this franchise where they veered away from that, went full CGI, and it backfired big time, because it just looked terrible. It dates. Whereas you look at the stuff in this film, 20, 30 years from now, it's still going to look good. It's not going to date, because it's, some of the stuff they do with it, like the car work and the motorbikes and things, fantastic. Some amazing stunt work, in-camera stuff, and I love it. And like I say, Sandgren's work, cinematography here, is just beautiful. There's some really great nods as well to moments throughout the franchise, and I don't just mean Daniel Craig's tenure as Bond, but like right from Connery's day, whether it's musical cues or just locations, things like that. Like if you look at Safin's, is it Safin or Safrin, whatever, the main villain's stronghold, his base at the end, again, takes me back to Blofeld's kind of volcano lair. It's that kind of set, only it doesn't feel like a set, it doesn't look like a set. It looks like it was shot on location at some abandoned missile silo somewhere. Either way, the work that's gone into that looks incredible. If I was to say what the overall theme of this film was, I have one word, and that's legacy. I think this film is all about the legacy we leave behind. I think each one of these characters at some point has to face what it is they've done with their lives and what to do with that moving forward. Whether it's something they will be proud of or whether it's something they need to rewrite. To me, that's what the film is about. It's about legacy, the legacy we leave behind for future generations. It is the perfect send-off, as I say, for Daniel Craig's Bond. I think he's got a complete character arc. Before I saw this, I'd have said, no, keep doing him. Let Craig do another one. If he's got it in him, let him do another one. Let him beat, let him do more than Connery. I'll let him match Connery's number. After seeing this, I would say, no, you know what? I'm happy with that. He doesn't need to come back. It's all good. I think there's a complete arc there, and why ruin it? It's fantastic. I love it. Great 5 movies. This is brilliant. I can't quite bring myself to say it's Skyfall or Casino Royale level just yet. That will require a few more viewings at least. But yeah, I was really made up with this. After waiting so long, sitting down in the theatre, watching it, I've got no complaints. Not really. So yeah, 4.5 out of 5 from me. One of my favourite films of the year so far. Admittedly, it's not been the best year, but of the movies I've seen this year, this is one of the cream of the crop. So yeah, go see it, go check it out, even if you're not a Bond fan, because I think it will surprise you. It's got some good stuff in there. So yeah, if you have seen it, what did you think about it, and where would you rank it amongst Daniel Craig's 5 movies? Leave your comments down below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, cracking.